Meis Triumph likes girls. Girls with voluptuous ribbons.
Meis, you're being naughty again.
Girls with large muscles.
I see.
And girls with huge financial endowments.
Meis, you really know how to piss me off, don't you?
Meis isn't discriminating, he's just horny. But that's okay, because this isn't like gratuitous horny. This is story justified horny.
Wow, what a babe!
You see, Meis is a spirit blacksmith. Not like a regular blacksmith that makes nails and horseshoes and utilitarian farming implements. No. Meis is a magical blacksmith who makes strong, turgid weapons, throbbing with lust. I mean love. Girls love. So the more a girl loves Meis, the better his armaments are. Basically, it's Meis's job. No, duty. It is Meis's solemn duty to seduce as many pretty girls as he can.
You really know how to make a girl feel special.
The fate of the world depends on it.
Is that so?
No, really, it does. Because Thousand Arms isn't just a dating sim with a flimsy plot, it's also an otherwise stereotypical JRPG with a flimsy plot. Let me explain. A self-important immortal gas bag wants to travel to the moon and become a god. But not like a benevolent sky father who showers his children with wine crackers and crippling self-guilt. No, this jerk just really wants to blow up a planet because that's what all powerful dickholes do in JRPGs. It's in the evil villain manifesto, apparently. So, of course, it falls to the most unlikable pickup artist in the universe to step up and save the day.
Whatever, just do something!
That's important, by the way. Meis is not a good guy. He's womanizing and corny and a lousy date.
You're too beautiful to be sad. Smile. I'm here with you.
A trait which his mentor Jobble is quick to admonish, and every girl he ogles is more than happy to taunt him for. It's like there's this unspoken understanding. The girls all know he's this pathetic lech, but humoring his clumsy advances is just how shit gets done in a world with magical love swords. It would be so easy for these dating sequences to veer off into creepy or insultingly sexist territory. But I think Thousand Arms skirts that particular pitfall by the sheer grace of its zany humor. The game knows it's ridiculous, and more importantly, never lets the player forget it. Personally, I'm okay with Meis saying ignorant shit because his comeuppance is swift, gratifying, and usually funny.
Meis!
I will give the game credit. Meis does undergo a transformation of sorts. While he never really sheds his playboy lifestyle, his attitude towards the ladies does mature as he truly comes to care for the women in his life in a way that transcends his obvious desire to get into their pants. This trend is illustrated with each individual intimacy arc that graduates from clumsy come-ons to sincere personal conversations, albeit sprinkled with professions of monogamy that ring ever more hollow with each romantic conquest.
Do you know how many times you've said that line to other girls? Currently, Meis has 108 so-called soulmates.
But Meis is arguably the least interesting character in the game.
Oh, how hideous! Are you pretending to be a queen or something? You look so stupid!
Despite his comedic antics, the spotlight is dominated by pretty much everybody else. There are no wallflowers in Thousand Arms. Each character possesses a distinctively strong and occasionally overbearing personality. And that's not just the playable heroes, the entire adventure is a cascade of one outrageous caricature after another. Villains come and go as Meis and the gang kick their butts.
Now that I'm here, you have no chance of winning!
But their brief stays are marked by ridiculous introductions and delightful battle animations. And even non-completionist gamers will want to seek out the hidden townie girls just to witness their bumbling romantic interactions with Meis. From start to finish, Thousand Arms is insane. Insanely weird, insanely funny, and insanely well animated. which is great because you'll need that momentum to weather through its insanely monotonous battle system and confusing dungeon design.
Oh no, this sucks! See, I told you so!
Thousand Arms obviously embraced 3D dungeon design with gusto, but like many RPGs of the era, the camera is oriented much too close to the environment. Then, to further compound my frustration, they disabled map rotation, but only in dungeons, where it's arguably needed the most. Consequently, I spent an embarrassing portion of my adventure hopelessly lost. Which is admittedly a boon for farming that all-important MP, but also harrowing when your healing supplies run low. But like much of Thousand Arms' foibles, the bad is tempered with the good, and I'm absolutely in love with Marion's ridiculous funhouse of traps.
Doing.
Similarly, I can't in good faith claim that the battles are bad. There's a lot I genuinely like about them, but it can be a slow crawl getting to the good stuff. But first, an explanation. The battle system is different. Heroes and enemies square off one-on-one with up to 2 supporting characters acting as backup. Only the frontline characters are permitted to attack or use offensive spells and abilities. The 2 reserve characters are limited to support magic and standby actions, which may apply random buffs to the frontline positions. Each hero has 3 such buffs that are more or less unique to their character. Like Sedina can heal HP, and Nelsha can restore EP, and Musa can, With 7 possible heroes to choose from, players will have to make some tough decisions on selecting who to date and whose weapons to upgrade. But forging and dating are massive resource sinks, and as entertaining as the battle animations are, you'll be spending a lot of time grinding, especially if you want the freedom to switch lineups on the fly. On top of that, because spells and specials are directly tied to dating, the early game battles are boring and repetitive. At least with spells unlocked, you can mix up the animations, but otherwise fighting is a ton of waiting out the clock and alternating between the X and circle buttons. By endgame, you'll be taking down mobs with a single blow, but not before that action gauge fills up and they hit you first, because they always hit you first. And you'll be dispatching bosses with a series of flashy summons. I feel like the combat system had a lot of potential on paper, but in execution leans more towards boring than engaging. That said, it's also impossible to hate on any system that features Nelsha and her wardrobe of haunted dresses. If only dating her were as interesting. And this boils down to preference, because with 9 possible romantic interests, you're sure to find someone with whom to forge that strong emotional bond. Personally, I always felt a little predatory hooking up with Nelsha. She's obviously inflicted with some sort of developmental delay.
Oh, Nelsha's so happy! Nelsha, love you, mice!
And as much as I adored Weena's boisterous tough girl persona, I found her casual homophobia to be an unflattering turnoff.
That's right, men who eat sweets are a little light in the loafers.
Weena, why are you like this?
Light in the loafers.
But in the end, true love prevailed as I discovered my bliss with the lovely and enigmatic bookworm, Millwind.
You mean that there are some extraneous variables involved?
So, let's say that, like me, you found your digital soulmate and feel skeezy hitting up the other girls. That's okay. The dating system gives you alternatives. Instead of escorting your date to romantic locales, you can also raise the relationship scores with minigames. Just bear in mind that some games are much easier than others, and some opponents downright cheat. Marion. Or, if you're feeling generous, you could play the benevolent sugar daddy. and shower your prospective conquests with expensive gifts, whichever method works for you.
Thanks, I love you.
The girls won't judge, unless you say something insensitive, or fail a challenge, or give them the wrong item. Then, okay, yeah, they'll definitely let you know what a screw-up loser you are. No one ever said that love was easy. Just ask Bandigear.
Is there true love in this world?
But to answer his question, no. At least that's the answer the game ultimately enforces. Despite all these budding romances, no one finds quote-unquote true love. Or rather, conventional monogamous love. Thousand Arms is completely devoid of satisfying resolutions. Musa doesn't get Weena. Levantis doesn't get Kylene. These ladies don't get Jobble. Ratchet doesn't get Schmidt. Jayla doesn't get Schmidt. Schmidt doesn't get Sedina. Sedina doesn't get Meis. And poor Bandigear doesn't get anything besides a solid ass kicking.
Adios, adieu, farewell, goodbye, see you later, sayonara.